implication. Well, it's a not-so-sunny semifinal Saturday here in San Diego as the battle for Seattle is about to get set on the live stream. BFG Mixtape for seemingly all the marbles. Lucas Serio alongside Sam Broaddus. And Sam, there's so many things to talk about in this game. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, I'd like to remind you that our streams this weekend, as they have been all weekend long, are brought to you by Flick Ultimate. Train better, play better, and AGW, a glimmering wreck, an ultimate apparel company that's done a lot to support Ultiworld. But Sam, so much to be excited about in this game. Again, like we've said, not the first time these two teams have met this year, not even close, and it feels like there's a lot going into this game that this could have a lot of implications about what happens in the game after it as well. Absolutely.
As you said, this is the battle for Seattle. Mixtape, the longtime top dog out of that city, but BFG has something to say about that. They have met 5 times already this season. Matchup number 6 right now. Seattle up 3-2 in this battle. BFG looking to even the score at 3 apiece, and BFG really coming in with wins when it matters the most in the series. So this is anyone's game. They know a lot about one another. This is going to be a very, very intense game, and I'm super excited to be a part of this.
None of these games any closer than 2 goals. I guess, of course, save the sectionals win for BFG from that. But like you've said, they've all been like, you know, the season started very heavy Mixtape, and now it's faded towards BFG. And when you look across the bracket and you see Noise and Hybrid, of course, both of them have had crazy weekends of their own. You never quite know what's going to happen, but I think the vibe is sort of like win this game, and you put yourself in a pretty good shot to win it all this year. And, of course, both teams coming in as the 2 and the 3 seeds respectively. It felt like they're on a crash course, and now they finally collided here in semifinals.
Absolutely, and that it happened at Pro Champs similarly, where they were on a crash course for the semifinals. And again, Seattle won that one, or Mixtape won that one over BFG. But we knew that if they held seed, the 2-3s would meet here in the semis.
Sun just starting to peek its way out from the clouds. Pretty rainy morning, so damp conditions. I know there's been a lot of talk on the ground about how footing is. I think for the most part, players tend to like it, but we'll give you a look. As most of our morning round games have been so far in San Diego, not a lot of wind to tell you about. Of course, we'll keep you updated as that changes. Pretty humid as well, but of course, everything's subject to change. The sun comes out, and you imagine things will start to get a little crazier. And Sam, you played in situations like this. What do you think the conversation's like inside of these huddles right now?
I think it's about maintaining composure, not getting caught up in the moment. You know a lot about your opponent, so you have to remember all of the strengths, all of the weaknesses, and really play a smart game out there. You know, both the margins are going to be very, very tight for both teams, and they need to expect that and really, really focus on minimizing those unforced errors. Make the other team make a play. You cannot just be giving them the disc. So this is really going to be about who can execute at this level under this pressure, and that will probably determine who comes out on top.
All signs point to be this should be one for the ages. Of course, we've been pretty fortunate with some mixed games on the stream so far in San Diego. A number really going the distance, a couple going to Universe, and just some crazy results all around. Imagine this might be the highest level game you could see in the Ultiworld live stream all weekend long. Semifinals just about set to get underway as the Chosen Sevens both find their way 70 yards apart.
And the noise starting to build from the sideline. You can hear both teams cheering. Both teams are absolutely ready for action.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you can't overlook the familiarity here. It's not just, you know, the 5 times they played this season, but of course living in the same city, the months and months and months of pickup and, you know, massed workouts and the kinds of Summer League and Winter League where you're running into each other, and there's just no lack of familiarity. And imagine it's an advantage, and in some ways it's a disadvantage. Right? You really can't escape the idea of how well you know a team. You think there's room to psych yourself out in that sometimes?
Yes, certainly. And beyond just those venues that you mentioned, a lot of these players have played with one another on previous teams. We have ex-Seattle Riot women on both sides of the field today. So again, knowing a lot about one another.
Opening pull, leave Manny Eckert and Abby Hecko back to field. Vertical stack look to get things started. Zach Sabin will find his way to the far side. Eckert is quarterback for so much of this season. And this time El Salam going from the top of the stack, but he'll opt for a reset. Amy Kawhi on the far side will get open and deal back for Sabin, but we get our first stoppage. And energy palpable here early.
Okay, it's a
Mixtape playing conservatively out of the gate. They had a couple of deep looks that earlier in the tournament may have been thrown, but they're opting for the higher percentage looks to start.
Hecko gets free. Felt like it's been Eckert every other, but she'll opt for Steph Lim, who has to go to the ground to save that. No problems. Inside floated, caught by Sabin. Now 15 yards away, make it 20. And again, we have to stop.
Another pick call downfield.
one. Gun!
Pacing, tempo, really important for both of these teams to get into a rhythm early. I have a feeling breaks are going to come at a very high price.
We got our first look at Mixtape's red zone. It's looking rather disciplined right now.
And Lim will find El Salam in the end zone. Pretty common connection if you're a Mixtape fan. They're on the board 1-0.
And if that first point is an indicator of what is to come from Mixtape, they are looking to play a possession game. That was a very, very organized, controlled offensive point. I think that's a great strategy for a game like this. If your offense can hold, you'll trust that your defense can get at least one break.
I think that's exactly it, right? Teams talk about crescendoing to nationals. Of course, both teams now reaching the apex. Like we talked about in the Open, here's your look at the other side. Noise Hybrid, that semi coming up on ESPN. Mixtape BFG really feels like, of the two, the one that holds the water in some ways.
It's the one that went to seed. Noise and Hybrid certainly had two of the best tournaments here. So, you know, I think just because they're seeded lower doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be less exciting. So I'm excited to see how that one plays itself out.
Of course, we'll keep you updated online all day long. Action on the ground here in San Diego. So we get our first look. Mixtape D-line. El Salam staying out there. Cam Bailey, Kelly Johnson.
Yeah, with only one game today, you're worried less about emptying the tank in one game. You can absolutely play your top seven a lot more than you otherwise would be able to.
Really a luxury teams get at almost no point ever in club, and obviously they're going to make the most of it. 2 threes matching up. Now Tommy Lee and El Salam will draw that matchup. Kirkland will reset for O'Brien. Mario O'Brien was just unstoppable yesterday in BFG's quarterfinal win over AMP. Felt like every time they needed him to make a move, he could. Just never really slows down. This time, Scuba, the break side works out. BFG rumble their way towards the end zone. Very handler heavy so far.
BFG struggling right now to find some open space.
Really tight downfield pressure from Mixtape. So they're forced to go cross field. Bailey contesting it, but O'Brien able to the challenge. Cross field from Tommy Lee will work out. Leah Baron Simmons, a captain for this team. She finds the end zone early. 1-1.
Both teams' offense doing their job, coming out looking very controlled, possession-oriented.
Yeah, yet to see a turnover, no surprises there. Find out how long that trend can continue.
Here's another look. That inside throw for the score.
Interesting too, sometimes people get low to throw that. Tommy Lee throwing it over the hand of the mark. Spot on. This team's so familiar in their matchups, right? You just played against these other people so many times. You have to imagine, sure, 5 sanctioned games, but the scrimmages and the practices and the pickup and the times, like you said, where they've crossed over the rosters, and I'm sure there's just, this game is really teeming with that. There's plenty of understanding who is standing across from you and what they like to do.
So far, a very clean game. Do you anticipate that's going to continue, or do you think it will get a little bit more chippy?
I think it depends. I think both teams have the ability to kind of get lulled into a hucking game. And I'd like to say that's kind of dependent on what the other one does first. But obviously both teams in no way lack the ability to continue to move the disc with small ball and through their handlers. The question more turns into when we see that first turnover, what's the approach of the D-line offenses? How conservative are they? First out of bounds pull will let Eckert walk this up to the brick. Hecko in the backfield, as has been the case so far.
Feeling the first breezes of the morning as well. Wind picking up.
Hecko turned in the backfield, no one was there. Find a quick reset to Hecko. Sabin taking off, didn't like that option. Eckert will make his way up line. Seattle doing their work to push deep early, but so far throwers not liking what they see. First touch of the game for Brad Hauser. And he will take a shot. This one looking for Sabin, who's got the height advantage and the goal. First deep shot of the game works out. Still clean through 3. 2-1 Mixtape. This is just high percentage, right? Never really felt in doubt who was going to catch this disc when it went up.
Here's another look at that.
Great end zone shot here. See this cut initiate. Sabin just drifting deep on Connor Belfield, Bowdoin grad. And Mixtape really taking their time between points here. Want to make sure that their string of 7 is exactly the right combination. Cogburn out there. Bailey, El Salam out there again. Torrey Gray. Kelly Johnson. Kei Fong. NYU grad. Here we go, point 4.
See if BFG can respond in kind, have another clean hold. Oh, and now we have Mixtape coming down in a 2-3-2 to stop any initial flow. Let's see how long they stay in it.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to disrupt that isolation side stack play to get things started. O'Brien will find Jason Yoon on the near side.
And now they match up.
Almost a miscommunication, hanging but caught by O'Brien, able to get there with his feet. Didn't need to go to the ground. Baron Simmons on the far side.
Another stoppage, looking like another pick.
Seen a number of those so far. See teams fully understanding the gravity of this game. Feeling that might be a theme throughout, although we hope not.
We're coming in 1.
Four in orange tasked to officiate this one. O'Brien trickles up line.
Wind really starting to pick up now, kind of gusty.
Cheryl Sue will again deal for O'Brien. They're asking a lot of him so far, but
so far he's been up for the challenge.
Certainly. Jason Yoon, Tommy Lee. Really let Lee work in space. He move the ball. Now step outside the end zone.
El Salam poaching in that space.
Stalling out. They're going to float this one to the far side, and it's too far. So first turn comes on BFG's second offensive point. First break chance goes to Mixtape.
BFG has struggled when the field gets compressed and they get towards that end zone to find flow spacing. Seattle Mixtape doing a really good job defending that red zone. Able to generate that first turn of the game because of that pressure.
We've got some great players in the field to punch it in too.
Looks like another call downfield, another pick.
Johnson and Simmons discuss this one. Long inside, over the head, and gotten right back. First break chance of the game goes awry. BFG a chance to hold again. That block will get chalked up to Tommy Lee, but really just an overthrow. First touch of the game for Charlie Mercer, and she'll float that one into the end zone, but it's too far.
That's now turning into the downwind end zone. So those away shots are just going to have to calibrate just a little bit better.
Yeah, teams are going to have to adjust. You imagine, too, that wind change doesn't really give Mixtape the chance to work the deep ball like sometimes they tend to like to. Going to have to be more methodical about this. Of course, second I say that, El Salam wants Bailey. There's a defender deeper, and Cam Bailey comes down with it. So the first break of the game falls to Mixtape. They're fired up.
Yeah, BFG is going to have to figure out how to get into the end zone cleanly. They're able to get down into the red zone without much difficulty, but then it really stalls once they get inside that brick mark. So they're really going to have to start strategizing about how to clean that up, or else I think Mixtape is going to be able to generate a couple more Ds that way.
High level shot from El Salam. Upwind. Cam Bailey none too happy to catch that one. This is where we'll start to see what teams are made of a little bit. First taste of adversity for BFG. Just as much of a question how Mixtape responds. And again, sun kind of going back away, breeze starting to pick up again too. Starting to feel the conditions a little more. Some similar faces out there for BFG. Mercer staying on, Lee staying on. First look at Mo Tilmo, Anna Maria Pape, O'Brien. Experienced group. And El Salam to pull. Interested to see again if they come in another set to try to disrupt any sort of called string or initiation.
Yep, coming down in another zone look.
We'll hammer out of it. Thought about testing El Salam. Ample was back there. Jeff Pape on the field as well. And now Tilmo.
Anna Maria Pape standing in the end zone, screaming for the disc.
Close.
Probably about 40 yards behind El Salam.
We got two cutters back there now. Doing a good job to keep this stretched. Mercer will get that to the far side. BFG impervious, and here the fire car starting to rein in. Fire calls, I should say.
The fact that BFG did not put that disc up into the end zone shows how much they respect El Salam's defense and his ability to play catch-up deep.
Hard to throw something into the wind that's not going to hang and give him a shot. BFG within the brick. This is where you said they need to figure it out. And
not in, just a yard outside.
O'Brien fighting for that space. This one left to Tommy Lee left to poach, and Kelly Johnson makes sure that won't be a score.
It's another turn right on the goal line. Again, they're just not finding the space that they need in order to make that an easy score.
65-plus yards don't matter if it doesn't make it into the end zone. And a Mixtape with a downwind break chance. Chance to go up by 2, by 3.
I think that might be just a little bit of the semifinal national jitters. This team, BFG, has such experience in their roster. They should know how to attack an end zone and maintain spacing, but they just look a little nervous when they get within striking distance.
Al-Salam going. Anthony Munoz wants him, but that one ill-fated, so low and pretty favorable field position for BFG. Back to your point, when you've played a team a lot of times and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose against them, you know, when you start to see a repeated situation, maybe going down a break early, you start to slip sometimes into those same head spaces of, I've been here, I know how this goes, I know what this feeling is like, right? And maybe some predictive mindsets. Of course, these two very mentally strong teams, but it's a tough habit to get out of. Pape up line from O'Brien. Mercer initiating off the top, but they'll find a reset before they find her.
Mixtape doing a great job locking down options right now, making BFG move backwards, trying to find another angle of attack.
Dump swing and get this disc to the fourth side. O'Brien running circles around Billy Katz. He'll deal back to Tilmo. Now a step outside.
They're in that situation again, trapped on the sideline right outside the end zone.
Kent was rising. They'll reset for Kirkland. And O'Brien again fighting for space. So is Lee.
Really working in tight quarters here.
Now Mercer.
Critical swing right there.
Into the break side. Mo Tilmo is in the end zone. So BFG make it all work out. But it wasn't easy. On the board. 3-2.
That's why that swing was so critical. Once you were able to move it up to the high side, there was a lot of space for a continued cut.
Great energy there. I think they're happy to be playing in this game. Big relief, big sigh of relief to finally work that in and now give themselves a chance to work down win for a break. But we'll look back at how this all fell apart. Clay Johnson did enough to disrupt, and then this Huck never really had a chance. Do you like the aggressiveness early on if you're a coach, or are you telling your team to slow down, work it in on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think anytime the disc is in our hands, I generally like the work it in approach.
A lot of coaches would say that.
No need to ever give it back to them without them taking it away. I think that was just a poorly executed throw. It wasn't a bad decision on the Huck.
Yeah.
You had a great receiver one-on-one in space with steps, so you certainly want to put that up. You just need to execute better. I
had a soccer coach way back when that would talk about something called mistakes of aggression. He would say, if you're going to make a mistake trying to do something, not trying not to do something. Right? The flip of the mindset of I'm going to, try something to see if it works out versus I'm going to, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to mess up. And it doesn't seem like that was the issue there for Mixtape.
Certainly not.
Reed Koss will pull as he has so many times.
Great pull.
Yeah, this one will pin Dom Cavaliero back there. First time we've seen him on the field. Maybe a bit of the zone look from BFG2. Seems like they're just kind of
sagging in lanes right now. Oh,
Tommy
blown
Lynn's
coverage though.
Empty. Eckert all the time in the world.
Oh, too long to think about that one coming uncovered. Now BFG gets a break chance.
Kerry Chang and Reed Koss will be the architects for this point, assuming they can keep this disc. Now about midfield, BFG 35 yards from a break. Brad Hauser doing his best to make sure that Reed Koss can't get open, but he'll find a dimension. Kerry Chang continuing his cut up the far side and into the end zone. BFG breaks back. This game back on serve.
That was a beautiful, beautiful just 2-on-2 situation. The rest of the team just giving them space. When he made that cut from the handler spot, everyone else standing in the stack saw it happen, saw it developing, and just stayed put. Allowed for a perfectly executed throw. And BFG does not minimize their break opportunity.
It's that cut deep from the handler set. And Reed Koss's forehand doing that for a long, long time.
A lot of credit for him taking a second, taking a breath, calculating that throw, and not overthrowing his receiver.
Difficult drop from Kawhi, too. He said it just, I think you're right, had too long to look at it almost. Sometimes you maybe have a second of doubt, or you just think a little too much.
Yep, just thinking a little too much.
Good look at your goal scorer there, Kerry Chang. All evens at 3.
Back on serve.
High level, though, played in this game so far. Despite the wind, continues to gust.
Already it's felt like there's been 2 momentum waves. Mixtape coming out of the gate, generating the first bout of momentum, but it seems like BFG is now riding a high after that break.
Cost fighting to keep that pull in bounds, but it won't. We'll get a look at the initiation here from Mixtape.
Mixtape generally working on a vertical stack so far this game.
They flood to isolate Hauser. Looked like Bolton was free for a second, but Dillop reset for Kat Songer. And now Lim. Echo fighting through contact. Getting bumped by Moskovitz. And then floating one out that Eckert has to go up and catch, but he will. Echo and Hauser going. But a reset the antidote. Long gainer from Bolton. He'll find Garrity. It's downward end zone, but a pretty friendly place so far. High level break. Hauser slipped as he tried to get to the cone. He'll hesitate and then go back to it, and it works out. Little scooper dish and a goal for Mixtape. They get a clean hold. You can probably hear it come through in our mics. The wind about as strong as it's been all game right now.
That was the first time Mixtape has kind of stalled a little bit for just a couple seconds outside their end zone. Not an ideal throw, but it worked. Can't complain. Score is a score.
Slip hesitation from Hauser almost helping him get free of costs.
Yeah, these fields being a little bit more torn up today after 2 heavy days of usage, combined with the mist from this morning. It is slippery out there.
Can't be overstated. I've heard the comment that players like the low grass because it means there's less of discussion about up-down calls, but feels fast, but at the same time, I mean, maybe not the most forgiving surface to play on. Polo fields. I'll give you a look at the keys to the game for both of these teams. Of course, for Mixtape, relying on their athleticism, winning the energy battle, staying up, and just, using your firepower to the best of your ability. Of course, BFG, it feels like their path to victory here is a little more calculated. Running their system, trying to play clean ultimate, and relying on their familiarity with their opponent. Just knowing, resting in confidence with BFG that when they've played this team when it's mattered down the stretch of this season, they've been able to get the result they want.
Mixtape again coming out in a little bit of that zone look. They've come out of it pretty early in points past, so if BFG moves the disc a couple more times, they'll likely come out of it. And it looks like they're out.
Mercer to the end zone. Alexa Kirkland there. Things coming easy for BFG right now.
Doing a good job recognizing where the end zone line was, making sure her feet were in the end zone and not out.
BFG definitely settled in, and Mixtape not able to generate pressure like they could earlier. Seems like those red zone woes have begun to melt away as the clouds have.
That one was more like they flowed their offense into the end zone rather than setting up kind of an end zone set. There was really only the goal scorer in the end zone right then. The rest of the team hadn't gotten into that space. So it will be interesting to see when they are not just flowing into the end zone, if they're able to figure out how to run a clean end zone with all 7 players.
Right, from like a dead disc situation or a timeout. Big difference. Both teams seem extremely comfortable, though. This really has been a dandy so far. Through 8, 4-4. Everything on serve. Just a break to tell you about in both camps.
break opportunities are going to be rare in this game, most likely. So it'll be about whichever team can capitalize on those few opportunities the most. The offense is both doing a really good job maintaining possession and holding.
Reverse zipper, trying to set up Titcomb. But they'll have to find a reset to Fong. And now Chino will get a touch on the far side. Sabin retreating all the way back, but they're going to look downfield, testing Eckert. And that one just went through his hands.
Just misread.
Head scratcher there. I don't know what happened.
Could have just been an easy clap catch.
Right out in front. Really good throw.
Seems like maybe the second time just had too long to think about it.
Gust of wind, but they'll get it right back.
Gets it right back.
Red zone possession coming for Mixtape.
Mixtape setting up in an end zone. Something organized here, looking like an isolation off the front of the stack.
Less than 5 yards out. Lim.
Good defense by BFG.
Will have to go high. That bounced off the fingertips of Fong. Too hot to handle.
Mixtape with just a couple of unforced errors here.
Uncharacteristic. Saber looking to get it back, and he will. That one hung, but no chance for Callahan. No matter. They'll get this right on the front cone. First back and forth point, but it's kind of all been in a 20 square yard area on the field. Hasn't really been no long possessions for either team on the defensive side. So they'll let Hecko pick this one up. They'll let Eckert go to work in the lane. Swimming to the cone, and he gets there. He's in, and he spikes it. They knew they needed that one. Mixtape, 5-4.
Although it's a really tight window, that's a high percentage look, getting your defender behind you, boxing them out, and just working in small space. Not a hard throw.
Such a in vogue cut right now.
It is.
People really like that move. This is just a strange drop. See his reaction. Zach Sabin, the goal leader so far for Mixtape throughout the weekend, getting that one back. And Eckert with authority. Teammates appreciative of the defensive effort. Third year on Mixtape, number 16, 27-year-old.
For all that back and forth, that was just a hold.
Yeah. Can feel that way. Can be flattening for an O-line. BFG's O-line of their own back out there. First look at Henry Fan on the D side for Mixtape. Al Salam will pull 3 cutters on either side of him. And again, flooding to isolate Tommy Lee, but some sort of poach set will do enough to disrupt it. Falling into his zone. Bailey realizing that he was out of position, he'll retreat. BFG all up on the high side so far. Gusson, Cheryl Sue, and now O'Brien. Starting to feel like a semifinal here.
Another pick call downfield.
As we inch closer to halftime. Sideline starting to get more and more and more into this one.
To me, it looks like part of the problem BFG has in this position is where they're setting up their stack. They're not, they just shifted a little bit, pulling 2 players to the back of the end zone, and I think that's what they need to do in order to generate better spacing for the front players who are working, just trying to find swings and different angles of attack.
He was really working to set up that break, couldn't find it, so he'll have to settle for O'Brien and gain yards in the process. Kane Bailey got lost for a second, trying to look downfield, but it's been all handlers. Good stack discipline to give them the space they need to work. And they'll float this for O'Brien. Did he get the toes? And he did. 5-5.
That was the best end zone set BFG has run yet.
And then the least number of players involved, it felt like.
That's what you need in the end zone. It's small space there, and the more people you get involved, the more defenders that are involved, and the less space there is to work with.
So that definitely on display. Just gonna look, this is textbook, right? Just understanding each other, where they're gonna be so well. People really like this. It seems like maybe calling for a switch there. Henry Fan, but not working out. And O'Brien snaking his way up line. Head spike to boot.
So still on serve, neither team able to create any sort of daylight between themselves and their opponent.
O'Brien, a longtime sockeye player, making his way over to Seattle from the Midwest. This is his 4th year with BFG. Yeah, he's really been the workhorse for them on O for so much of this run at Nationals. He's going to find his way to this. He's had this little chair over there in the corner on the sideline that after every point he goes back to, and it's not anywhere near his team's stuff, and it's not really anywhere near anybody else, and it just kills me. Just needs a little me time after every point.
I can relate.
Little green room. Get ready for the next one. Kerry Chang to pull. Eckert and Hecko, the 2 in the backfield. Long cut from Steph Lim. She'll continue for Hauser. And he will unline again. This one looking for Garrity, and it works out. So deep game, clicking early so far. BFG, or Mixtape, I should say, only 2 away from the interval.
It was a really nice, just clean flowing offense. Hard to stop that. That initiating cut from Lim really gave them a lot of yards, established good, an easy cut to time, a continue off of, and that was a bang bang score.
Yeah, timing the right word. This is, if you're trying to, younger ultimate player watching how to cut deep on the 4 side or how to time it, this is pretty much perfect. Wasn't too deep when she released deep, and just doing it straight, right? Not cutting closer to one side or further away from the other, making for a really easy throw for Hauser.
Yeah, keeping that window open is what I like to say. If she had angled that cut towards the cone, she would have closed the angle that the thrower would have had to throw, and so by running straight down the middle of the field, thrower was just able to put a flat throw out to space, then she was able to adjust her cut to read and react to it, keeping her defender at her back the whole time.
D unit back out there for Mixtape. Only a couple scores away from half.
This is a critical hold for BFG. They may start to feel a little bit of pressure that if they don't hold, Mixtape will get the upper hand going into half. Need to just continue to play with patience, working their systems.
Jason Yoon, rookie out of Princeton. 32-year-old from Berkeley is the initiator.
Another pick call. Picks pretty prevalent in a vertical stack.
Especially in a game like this. Had Mercer going deep.
With her old teammate, Kelly Johnson, covering her.
Imagine that. Matchups happen a few times in practice, probably.
Most likely.
Simmons. And now Lee. Sewell can get up line. O'Brien on the doorstep. They have really figured out the issues in their end zone as Mercer just breaks free. Very, very easy for BFG when they get to that part of the field now.
I think that was a little bit of what we talked about earlier about knowing your opponent so well, and Mercer knowing exactly how to get open on her longtime teammate, and Johnson showing immediate frustration in not being able to cover her.
First half of this game a wash so far, 6-6 despite the breaks, and makes this a 0-0 game 2. I don't know if you're big into situational coaching, but is this something
Absolutely.
you guys work on in practice?
Yes, absolutely.
urgency now for BFG. They know they need a break. And if they can get one, they get to receive out of half anyways. So a lot riding on this next 3 points. Maximum 3, minimum 2.
Yeah, you'll normally put your standard D-line on for this point, then assume your O-line will be able to hold, and then you'll usually put a universe line on for the point for half.
And like you said, only one game for these teams to play today. Not always luxury teams to get in the club division at high-level tournaments, but this is nationals. This is a semifinal. One season will end. One will continue on to the final.
Looking Stephanie Lim immediately again, able to generate so much momentum. Last point.
Bid coming up empty. And Kawhi back on the field. And that one slipped out of her hands. Pape with a chance to work quickly for BFG. This is the break they need. They want to establish themselves early in this half. Connor Belfield.
BFG 10 yards from the end zone.
Oh, Hecko getting in there to disrupt it.
But a foul is called. Perhaps a strip. No contest.
Moskovitz and Hecko coming to an agreement pretty quickly. Good to see. Just a long upline cut. Miscommunication between Fong and Eckert. And a break into the hands of Sam Pickle.
I'm not sure what happened there, if he just knew that he was beat and didn't follow, or if he was just caught unawares.
Head scratcher. Break for BFG. Wow. And this one, seen this a couple times, wet disc. Maybe not sure if they want to throw a fake or a throw, and late decision making. We've all been there.
Yeah, usually that's what happens when you think you're going to throw, and then at the last second you decide not to throw. Sometimes you just can't stop the disc from coming out of your hands. Especially with the mist going on right now, it's just a little bit slippery.
Get a look there at Sam Pickle, the goal scorer. Moskovitz in the frame as well. And kind of a confusing point in terms of mixtape, but don't have much room for error in a game like this. It's been so close. BFG on top 7-6 for, I believe, the first time.
Yes. Let's see if they can get one more break. That would be huge before half, since they'll be receiving out of half.
And they get a chance to do it downwind.
This is a formidable O-line for Mixtape.
It's got to be a must-score line, you'd think, right?
Absolutely, it is.
7 people out there that you just know are going to get it done. Really resembles their O-line from their first point of the game. El Salam out there. Break will find Sabin. Communication between Hauser and Eckert. They weren't sure who was supposed to fill, but it'll be Steph Lynn anyways. Long slashing cut from Sabin won't do anything. Now poach from Belfield. And it seems like a collision in the stack.
Steph Lim has been all over the place, starting as an initiating cutter, coming back as a handler. She's been doing it all for them. BFG not really able to stop her so far.
This will come in on Hauser. Looks like stalling 1. He's got Sabin at the back working against Tommy Lee. Sabin taking off. Hauser, for the first time this game, feels like he holstered it, but contact between Eckert, maybe Sue. Bring this one to a halt again. Got the disc on the far side, the high side.
Discussion about what the stall count is coming in on. Coming in on stalling 5.
That felt fast. It was just 1. Kaiser needs something quickly. High stall.
Good defense.
Able to disrupt it. That is Sue. Knocking it away from Lim.
Is that another commentator jinx?
Perhaps. BFG 35 yards from halftime. Make it about 50.
This would be a big hole that Mixtape would have to climb out of if they let up this break.
One going. Tommy Lee wants it.
It's a pretty deep.
Two cutters back there. El Salam doing just enough to disrupt that. Save the possession.
Looks like it just bounced off her hands. A little bit of miscommunication about who that was for. Mixtape gets the opportunity to hold still.
Looking stagnant to get things started, but they find a break. Sabin taking off. Wynn died for a second. Surprised El Salam didn't let it go.
I think he realizes how important this possession is, not leaving anything up to chance. He had a wide open undercut. Decided to take that instead.
Garrity, her throw again. Too hot to handle for Steph Lim. Terry Chang thought about taking it all in one throw, but he'll settle for an upline. Long inside, and that one not caught.
It's a spicy throw. Oh, and we have a timeout here. Smart timeout. Reestablish a little bit of order.
At this point, starting to drag on. The end of this first half is really slowed down.
Just a couple of drops from BFG.
Mixtape, of course, taking this timeout, understanding how important of a point this is for them going forward, coming out of this half. Right now, take a break as things are really shaky in this semifinal. Be right back.
Beforehand, I wouldn't have thought myself much of a defensive player. I get a block at least once a week now. Yeah, I got my first layout D. Breaking the mark has been something that I have definitely leveled up. If you're really wanting a new level or different results, then it's going to take something. If you're really keen and passionate to take your game, take your life even to the next level, this will help you get there.
All you missed was a throw to El Salam by Eckert. Flying its way back into Eckert's hands. Better body language so far is clear to make space for Sabin. Big Bid comes up empty, but urgency out of the timeout. Garrity going. El Salam didn't want it initially. And again, Eckert gliding up line, but a pick downfield. Stop and go pace in this semifinal.
Haven't seen any of the big throws from Salam yet today.
Kept it pretty measured so far. Games around the complex starting to wind down, as you can see there in the back of the frame. Spectators beginning to pile in. Last two games of these fields before everything moves to an alternative site for the rest of the semis and the finals tomorrow. Still a lot of ultimate to be played here. Sabin inside, too far. Back to BFG. This point will not end.
Just an unfortunate misthrow there.
You think BFG burns time out here? They got two.
I don't think so. I think they probably just talked about what they would want to talk about.
Got their turn.
They may save the timeout till later in this point. If anything stagnates.
Terry Chang gonna take a shot. Testing Belfield versus El Salam. Yeah.
Not the look that I would have advised as a coach.
easy to see why. This all-star O-line from Mixtape has just really struggled. And a foul between Chang and Eckert.
It's an interesting stoppage right here in the sense that BFG looked a little out of sorts on defense, but now has the opportunity to lock back in.
Funny how that works sometimes.
Both teams looking a little bit tired right now.
This is, felt like the longest point of the game. Certainly the most turns. Reset for Eckert. I feel like he's going to have to touch the disc a lot. They want to hold here.
Let's see if they get impatient and just put something up in the end zone.
Odd hammer blade to Hauser. Has to find the ground to catch it. Al-Salam just working against Belfield off the top of the stack. Mixtape has a lot of confidence in that matchup. Al-Salam just deciding to go up line and then hanging the lane for a second. Chang's mid coming up empty on Eckert. And all the way around. Mixtape just outside. That switch. It did come in the end zone. She spikes it to make sure. 7-7. We'll take one more to decide half. They needed that one.
They certainly did. The both teams looking really tired on that one, but I want to give a lot of credit to Al-Salam. He really kept the movement going that point. Everyone looking a little bit tired, but he just continues to cut and cut and cut. Let's take a look at all of the turns from this point. The drop there, miscommunication.
That one just head scratcher. She's made that catch earlier this game. Another one.
Another one.
Yeah,
just
beam
off
that
the
in.
Chest. Out too far out in front.
Wynn's starting to play with these discs a little bit. I think this Huck short arm, this is like a I'm tired, I want to get off the field throw. And the bid just coming up empty. It's like Austin Barden unable to get there.
Great defensive effort, seeing exactly what the threat was. Just a half a second late.
Chino wants everyone to know about it.
Go down. We're going to find pressure. A lot of pressure. Two things that I want us to think about. Stop committing to the down space, to the right side, and then getting into
This has universe point intensity, of course. At this point, we'll just decide who goes into the 10-minute break on top. Difficult to downplay the importance of that, though.
Timeout was called.
Had him left, why not? I guess unless the next point proves to be a marathoner as well.
I think it was Mixtape that called that timeout. So BFG still with both theirs.
So we'll see who the 7 are for each side. Each team 1 goal away from the break. For some reason, BFG has a disc, but I got rid of it. Interesting looking D-line. Crossing over Eckert.
Yeah, this is that universe line situation. More Mixtape.
Certainly feels like it. Body language.
Yeah, it's really important to get back on serve by half.
Get a look at the AMP team that played on this stream yesterday. Can't be disappointed with their season, of course, plagued by a number of really difficult injuries for them, but AMP will be back stronger next year. Philly, of course, really committing to the mixed division in their ultimate scene, it feels like. And interestingly enough, observers seem like they're in no rush to get this point started. Usually they're the ones hurrying something like this along.
Yeah, not sure what the discussion is. We have 2 observers standing together on one side of the field. Should have only added 1 minute between those points,
Certainly.
but certainly longer than that so far.
I was going to say the same thing.
Kind of like a little mini halftime there.
They're about to have another one.
The actual one.
And the build-up for this point, starting to make it feel like one of the biggest of the season for each of these squads.
It is. It frankly is. Whoever wins this point is in the driver's seat in the second half. If Mixtape is able to get the break back, BFG is going to have to get a break in order to get back on top. If BFG can hold here, Mixtape's going to have to get 2 breaks to get back on top.
This game has not had many of them. Only 3. 2 to BFG and 1 for Mixtape.
Decided not to throw the disc to the wide open receiver.
And Simmons was in the space. But Pape and O'Brien again, everything so far. Probably didn't take the deep shot, perhaps wise. 2 number 3s will clash again in the backfield. They've been all over each other this game. In terms of matchup though, pretty low contact matchup I would say.
BFG is not timing their continues well right now. It's very stagnant, waiting for one person just to develop something.
Pape peeling up line, bid comes up empty from Fan. Contact in the stack, but no call. Long gainer, work out. BFG just steps away from the interval. High stall situation, get it off the line. BFG feel like they're in control right now. Cam Daly flying through the air, but he'll get nothing for it. And then around to Pape and into the end zone. BFG take half 8-7. And like you said, they're in the driver's seat headed into half 2.
They will be receiving out of half for the opportunity to go up by 2. That was a huge hold for them.
Difficult to overstate. When they needed a clean possession, they got it.
They had to work for it, though. Mixtape did not make that easy.
A game that's had a number of minor twists and turns. Hopefully, it feels like we're in store for more as we head into half number 2, but so far, is this what you felt like it would be like?
Absolutely. This has been so intense, every single point. Turnovers, there have been 2 points that there were, quite a few turnovers exchanged. But other than that, the offensive lines really wanting to maintain possession. You've seen a lot more conservative play than you saw out of both these teams earlier in the tournament. Because they know the magnitude of the situation, and you can just feel the energy and the tension.
Number of people I've seen online discussing that many of the games we've streamed have not been close. I don't think this one physically could be any closer. Hopefully getting what you bargained for if you're tuning in. Great stream game on the backfield as well. But semifinals rolling on in San Diego. See that early break from Reed Cost, carried Chang up line. This has just been exactly what we thought it would be like. Extremely back and forth, extremely tight. Luke Serio, Sam Broadus bringing you the battle for Seattle. Half 2 coming up in just a little while. Stay with us. This is All Three Worlds live coverage from the 2021 National Championship.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers.
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined,
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
Beforehand, I wouldn't have thought myself much of a defensive player.
I would have called myself a basket case.
Yeah, I got my first layout D.
Now, I feel like when I make a mistake, it doesn't necessarily become the only thing I think about for days.
I get a block at least once a week now.
I feel way better when I play Ultimate. And I think I perform way better under pressure as well because of this.
Welcome back to now sunny San Diego on semifinal Saturday. And like we said, the battle for Seattle very much underway. We're going to kick it over to the sideline. Reporter Isabel Cruz is standing by with two BFG players as they've been on top here in the second half. Tilmo and Alyssa Sue. Let's listen in.
I'm Isabel Cruz. I'm here on the sidelines reporting with UltiWorld. I am here with BFG's Alyssa Sue and Tilmo to talk about that first half. So, a familiar matchup. What were you all thinking and strategizing about going into this game?
Well, neither of us are on StratCom, but generally we go into every game. Something we say in the beginning is to like throw away outcome and throw away doubt and just know that we're in the present. So coming into this game, we said like everything that we've done is behind us and we have to earn every point starting now. So that was the mentality that we came into this game with, and I think that's really what we've done.
You ended that half up a big break. What do you feel like made the difference and really pushed you all ahead in that half?
Yeah, I just feel like we just used our feet. I think we we like to grind, and like we like to say throughout the whole season that like the G in BFG actually stands for grind, and like that was the big difference maker to earn us that break. Yeah.
As two big playmakers on this team, what is in y'all's minds heading into this big second half with a title on the line, advancing to a title on the line?
I trust my teammates. I trust my teammates 100%. I know that I can go into the point willing to lose and put in my 110%, and if I don't win my matchup, somebody's going to pick me up.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. She said it perfectly. Yeah.
Well, best of luck in that next half, and thanks for giving us such an exciting game of Ultimate.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
High level of confidence conversation there from the BFG players. They seem like they feel really good about their odds in this one. The results so far would say the same. But thank you to Isabel Cruz on the sideline. We'll kick into some highlights. We'll be right back with more second half action from San Diego. Stick around. This is UltiWorld's live coverage of the semifinals in San Diego.
Lance immediately puts it out deep. Jesse Bolton with the bomb, backhand McKelly. That's Johnson going back for it and makes a spectacular catch. Quick, deep shot, looking for Stepanitis with separation. Erica Bacon taking off. And what a play by Pat Niles, catching the deflected disc with the one-handed layout.
Chest as you watch me bleed. Every kick, drum hit is a symphony.
Coulter, and Anderson goes up with the left hand and pulls it in. And the hammer from Crawford is right on the money. Dedecore with the inside break for a Dragon Thrust hold. And then a big catch from Ashley Gailey Morgan. And Strings makes one of the plays he's known for. Knocked away by a bidding Owen Westbrook.
Welcome back. Semifinal action about to get underway in the second half. Opening poll for Mixtape. Like we talked about, BFG on offense. They've got a chance to go up by 2. No team has led by that much, I think, since the score was 3-1. Of course, when it was 3-1, that was in favor of Mixtape. A little zone look from them, but trying to force BFG to throw to the near side, the low side. Katz, Lim, and Bailey all in charge. Now they'll transition out of it. And O'Brien making handler defenders look foolish like he has all weekend long.
BFG just working it down the field.
They understand that this goal is essentially their cushion. O'Brien keeps that alive somehow, some way. Tight windows so far, but they seem really comfortable to hit those. Steps outside. Just no one was cutting the break side at the right time. I think 2 went and they cut each other off. There's the turn. So Mixtape now have a chance to draw a level. Kelly Johnson will get things started for them.
Just a mis-executed throw on the goal line.
And another one. Offhand from Cam Bailey. What are you doing? O'Brien all the way around. Still BFG's point to score. And another turn. Wow. Back-to-back drops for BFG. I saw low throws in the red zone.
Just feeling the pressure.
Oh, you can tell Katz wanted it. Thought about it twice.
Should have thought about it a third time. She was wide open.
Maybe not trusting his throws in the wind. Emily Smith-Wilson had steps. Another first stoppage of the second half. Fong.
With Stephanie Lim on this point, do you think they anticipated getting the turn and needing her for their offense?
She's really been like glue for them. Every time they needed her, she's been available and has delivered.
2. Right. You guys are set. Coming on 2.
A number of stoppages have slowed this first point down, heavily resembling the point before half. Katz this time will shoot, looking for Cogburn. That one tailing left and broken up. Simmons got there. Now they'll discuss whether or not it was a foul.
It's an interesting foul call you don't usually see when the defender has inside position, goes straight up. Not usually a position that the defender can be fouling you.
The observers will agree. This one's clean. BFG O-line will pick up and start over.
Call rescinded, it sounds like.
Good clarification, and BFG going to immediately burn a timeout, which could become consequential if this half is anything like the first one.
Yeah, and we are only 18 minutes away from soft cap, so time's certainly going to be a factor. It is not very likely that this will get to 15.
Although it feels like we've said that before and been wrong. But I think you're right in the way this one's going with all the trading. Likely a team will hit soft, and then a couple of points later we'll be crowned victors.
So this is an interesting strategic moment. So BFG calling a timeout to get organized and establish a system, but that also gives Mixtape the opportunity to strategize about how to junk something up. So let's listen in and see if we can hear what they're going to do. Looks like the huddles had already broken up.
Seemed like pretty clear that O'Brien was barking out directions in that huddle, and so he picked up. He'll have to start with the disc, and then the question is, what's the string downfield look like? Lim looking like trying to perhaps poach and disrupt whatever this string might be. And to isolate a zipper to get Tommy Lee free, but didn't have a throw to get it to him at the time that he was making his move.
Everything really just flowing through Mario O'Brien.
Looking to reward Simmons. This one hanging. It just can't be held on to. A little low, a little bladey, but catch you'd expect her to make.
BFG just has had a lot of drops this game, and critical drops right in the end zone.
Bailey settle for Fong, and then get it right back. Another odd backhand to the foreside. That one almost dropped by Smith-Wilson.
Defenders seem to have been able to run through D that, but must not have gotten a hand on it. Smith-Wilson able to catch it.
Bobbled. Another one of these backhands to the flick side. I get that it's windy, but
that's actually a really low percentage onside backhand because you're going into the wind.
The other thing too, you're changing the spin than just throwing a regular forehand, right? It makes that disc spin away from your receiver rather than into their hands. I feel like that results in more turnovers than you see, but he's completed all of them so far this point. Now,
sometimes throwers are just more comfortable with their backhand, and when they're going straight into the wind, they would rather have that disc held securely in their grip.
Now Katz just outside from Johnson, and Mixtape on the precipice of a first break of the second half.
Trying to prevent that 2-goal lead as the crowd starts to shift from the men's semifinal over to this much closer game.
Into Bailey, but this one coming back, and you can tell by the reactions. It seems like O'Brien taking that call back, so back-to-back rescinded calls and a break for Mixtape. This game back tied at 8. This semifinal rumbling on and just as close as it's been the whole way. Feels like anybody's game right now.
Let's take a look at some of those turnovers this point.
Just some interesting drops. And then this is just
This was the rescinded
block.
D. And then just the drop.
One of those tough where it's like not a full bid and it kind of like mid-range.
And the disc was dropping pretty quickly.
Right. Difficult to fault the receiver there. So BFG will have to go back to offense here.
Still in the driver's seat. They're still receiving. They just need to start holding on offense and get their D-line back on the field.
Sometimes easier said than done. interested the 7 that they picked to go out and get that hole done for them.
We are now 14 minutes from cap.
So there is no hard cap, just soft cap, meaning this game could theoretically continue for a while, depending upon how the scores go, but that would really just be a situation where one team was up big, because soft cap is now just +1. Keep you updated as that situation changes. Throw right in front of Tilmo, but it'll find Mercer. And around for O'Brien. Salon back on the field. Eckert crossing over now. Talks about keys to the game, relying on their stars for Mixtape. I feel like with each possession as it goes on, they're going to continue to do that even more. Taking a shot. This one, workout upwind for BFG. They get a hole when they needed one most. They're up 9-8. And like you said, still in charge here.
That was a nice throw to see in the sense that that demonstrates that they're not playing scared. They're still willing to take shots when that's the right decision. As you can see, the well-timed deep cut, look how she creates a huge angle for herself. The throw able to just go nicely across the field using the wind pushing in that direction.
High level of IQ on that cut.
Absolutely, she went to the very far side of the field, knowing that that's most likely where the disc was going to be pushed. And that defender had no chance to make a play on that.
Offense back on the field for what feels like has been a while for Mixtape. And like we said, game's starting to finish around the complex, so more and more people filling in on the sidelines. It's starting to get an intensity. I mean, we were talking at halftime. This has potential to be perhaps one of the best semifinals of the entire slate across all 3 divisions.
Yeah, you can't really have much of a closer game than this. There's never been a point differential more than 1, I think. Maybe there was, what was it?
2 for a flash.
2 for a quick second.
Caballero back. He's going to unwind his backhand as he so often likes to do. Testing Chang, looking for Bolton, and caught just outside the end zone. When everything slows down, go back to what works. Jesse Bolton will now flick towards Hauser, who for a second wanted to hop that in, but didn't have the range, and Caballero will cap off the point that he essentially started. Mixtape get their hold. And the intensity continuing to notch up and up and up and up and up here.
We are tied at 9s. 11 minutes till cap. All the pressure on the offensive lines now.
This backhand shot. One of the things I noticed starting watching some more Mixtape this summer, Dom Cavaliero's backhand is unreal. It's pretty much good for a completion whenever they need it, and then able to get the score as well. His 10th year on Mixtape. Showing his pride for his team there. Only other player that's been on this team longer, well, there's 2 of them, Brad Hauser and Cam Bailey. And like we said, more and more people enjoying semifinal ultimate as seasons have ended. And teams now just get to enjoy being out here in sunny San Diego.
I'm really impressed with how clean this game has been, other than many pick calls from, some vertical stacks that got a little too compressed. There really haven't been that many foul calls or anything like that. It's just been a really clean game from a physicality perspective. Not what I would have anticipated from these 2 teams vying for a place in the finals.
Yeah, obviously no lack of respect between the sides. They know each other well, but that doesn't mean they can't play civil ultimate.
That one dug out.
Now Jason Yoon on the far side. O'Brien traversing in the backfield. Oh, thought Pape might let that one go. He didn't.
It's a height mismatch going into the wind. Smart holster.
Throw to the far side.
Oh!
Massive bid comes up, but and now maybe a foul. Mark Anthony Munoz
Hard to
horizontal there.
Hard to tell from this angle. Bodies were kind of blocking our view of the potential contact. Oh, what a great bid. Effort level so high. Let's take a look at that replay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so observer ruling. He did have possession, right? It's going to stay here.
Looks like it is an upheld strip call.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's really what this game has missed. It felt like nobody's really made a statement block yet. Nobody's really on the defensive end been able to assert themselves in such a way to begin to dictate the pace or dictate the narrative. It's been all O, despite the smattering of breaks in the first half. High throw over Bailey's head. Mario O'Brien just continues to get open at will. And now Simmons.
Simmons doing a good job of cutting through that poach.
Bailey reaching into the cookie jar, but coming up empty. BFG even closer to yet another hold.
And BFG gets the hold again in that small space.
Yeah, Pape getting free there. That front cone has been a popular spot this game. That story continues here. Now Mixtape back to the drawing board on O.
Let's take a look at that strip call again. See if he secures the disc. He did stop rotation. And then it got popped out. Good call by the observer.
I think fair enough to say it was foul, even if it wasn't a strip. Maybe not, though. Give you another look right. Ooh, that's the goal. This is really, really, really close. I don't know if he stopped it, but it felt like he had
it looked like it to me.
on
Yeah, it looks like he had pancaked it for about a fraction of a second, and then it got popped out. But
just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Playing an observed game, and there is the goal scorer, Jeff Pape, his 4th year on the team, Michigan Magnum alum. Chance to perhaps face off against some of his college teammates if they advance through the final, as does Hybrid, but a lot of ifs in that statement. Still a lot of ultimate to be played. Eckert will center to Hecko. Lim getting things started. His contact on the mark, and Hecko will ask for the stall to be reset. Lim going. Eckert deciding not to in the conditions. And these two have just been free up line all game. Really nice catch made there. See the disc starting to wobble a little bit. Getting a sense of what the wind is like. This team's relatively impervious to it. Hauser going. Eckert wants him. That one in front of Belfield and caught. Mixtape in the end zone. They keep this one notched up. And we're tied at 10s.
We're going to be under 5 minutes to half. By the time this poll goes up, sorry, to cap, and this poll goes up. So we may be looking at a game to 12, maybe?
Definitely possible.
So that 0-0 game to 2 is actually for the game.
Yeah. Repeated situations. Connor Belfield never really had a read on this, and Brad Hauser, again, we've talked about those hucks that are sometimes not quite far enough to warrant a full bid and can be more difficult. How do you fall and maintain possession through the ground? But he's been doing that for this team for a long, long, long time. Over a decade now. See if more familiar faces begin to find their way to the D-line. Looks like a similar unit to the one they used at half.
Pressure on the offensive lines is just massive right now. Every cut is going to be so tightly contested. You're going to be throwing into really small windows, and your margin for error is 0.
Essentially, and I think they're definitely starting to feel that. Of course, the offenses have been there when they've needed them all game long. The question is, when they need them most, can they continue that effort? High arcing pull, settled and centered.
No cuts downfield.
O'Brien will just take the gainer, but kind of sacrifice favorable field position. Tommy taking off. They're going to test Sabin. That one hanging and batted away. Turnover in favor of Mixtape. They got a chance to break here.
I don't think they've successfully hucked on Saban, but BFG able to run through and get that D right back.
Cheryl Sue making sure her O-line's point doesn't end soon. Unfavorably. Now O'Brien in no rush to get this play started. He'll find Sue on a reset. She was instrumental in their win against AMP. Same has been here true in the semifinals as well. Offhand of O'Brien. Low inside and a call.
Dead disc situation in the red zone for BFG. Let's see if they have learned their lessons from the course of this game.
Or if history repeats itself. Sue and O'Brien, Pape, only the three you're going to see touch the disc a lot here, unless something crazy happens. But this seems like the game plan. High stall, long throw, asking a lot. They find a way to make it work out into the cone. So BFG hold 2. They're only up by 1. But that's pretty much been the margin the whole way.
Talk about evenly matched teams. The talent in Seattle very clearly dispersed evenly across these two teams.
Big smile there. This team's so aware of each other. Look at that end zone set. They really like those offhand resets when they can get them. And then they try to continue. The timing's so good from Jason Yoon. Again, a rookie on this BFG team playing big minutes in a big game. Gotta wonder what's going through his head a little bit right now. But this game also is going to have such a big imprint on how the final goes, regardless of who ends up in that final from the other semi. Can't count either of those noise or hybrid teams out. Like we said, both have had wild weekends, but have a feeling implications of this game are a little bigger than just who wins the semi.
We are less than 2 minutes from cap, so depending on how long this point goes, cap could be going on during this point. So we're likely looking at either a game to 12 or a game to 13.
Pickled pull. Wind helping this one. Pretty much this whole second half has been all upwind. We're not 90 seconds away from cap, so once it does.
That was great hustle by Tommy Lynn, running down on the pole, preventing that centering pass. That's really making Seattle Mixtape work more than 70 yards.
Sideline calling for help. Asking the cutters downfield not to strand. Cavaliero taking off. Hauser wanting it. He's going to go again. They're going to test this Belfield matchup. And Hauser wins in the air, but then it fell out of his hands. And this one might go to the orange. Oh, difficult to say.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a replay on that. See what happened. How did the disc come out? Here comes the replay.
Seems like he had it.
He certainly caught it. So did contact by the... yes, it did look like the follow-through by Connor.
I'm going to go to them. Is that all right with you? All right, so what you're describing, it's between both of your bodies. We're both on either side of you. We cannot see between you, all right? So observer ruling, it's going to be sent back.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Observers unable to see that.
Maybe the biggest call of this game.
And you know what? I like this in this situation. It's not, if the observers did not have a clear view of what happened, they should not be making a call. Sending it back is the right decision.
Speechless. Crazy. And Hauser going to take his steps. I'm sure Cavaliero will argue that he had a little position on Pickle. Cap is now on, so after this point, play one more and then add one to the higher score at that point. Eckert snaking up line. Lynn making things difficult. Two cutters coming to the open side. Make it 3. They have to go to the reset space again. This game has been a grind for both sides.
Tight defense downfield by BFG. Not giving an inch, making Mixtape work backwards.
These offhand four-side pseudo upline resets have been really popular. Two teams with pretty similar styles, although different faces. Eckert has just been every other for them down the stretch of this game. They've needed him to be that one far, but caught by Garrity. Did come taking off. Cavaliero wanted it for a second. He'll opt for something else. Guess who? Long throw. Wow! Catch through contact.
Those are the kinds of margins I was talking about.
Not highlight heavy, but exciting ultimate here in the semifinals. Again, faking off Titcomb, and Hauser will get his first touch under.
This is a grind of a possession for Mixtape as we see contact on the mark. No contest. Coming in on stalling one.
Hecko waiting for Eckert to get open patiently. Eventually he does. Had a lane to limb, but won't throw it. And now Hecko approaching the red zone. All the way around, back to the middle of the field. That one far, but caught again. They've asked so much of Steph Lim this game. And now she'll throw the assist to Hecko in the end zone. Mixtape able to get it done and tie it up at 11s.
We have Universe. 11-11, game to 12. BFG receiving. Let's look at the lines these two teams put out there. This is for all the marbles.
Is it?
You add 1 when the cap goes off to the higher score.
Get a look at this point and hopefully bring you some clarity, but this is just a crazy catch through contact. Not the only one she'd make on this possession.
Here's another diving catch to save possession.
And then Hecko just getting open at the right time. They've really relied a lot on their young players. Really impressive stuff.
Mixtape calling the timeout here. Catching their breath.
Got a chance to talk to Cam Bailey pre-season, or I guess before Pro Champs, and I asked him straight up, I said, what's the ceiling for this team? He said a national championship. They're not sugarcoating it at all in this huddle, and they fully aware. He said this might be the most talented iteration of Mixtape ever. Particularly, he said they have some of the best women players they've ever had. We'll take a listen in. Body language would say that you're spot on. This one is for all of it. A trip to the finals in the making. It's time like this where you get to decide what 7 players on your team can deal with the pressure season on their back. It's been a very under-controlled, paced game throughout. BFG will set to receive here. Looks like a fairly traditional O-line look from them. On the other side, see a number of players cross over. El Salam gets set to pull. Universe point underway in the semifinals at Nationals. Everyone dreams about this game, these moments. How do they work out on paper? Pape in the backfield with O'Brien, as we've said so many times. Cats will draw that matchup. That one popped up. O'Brien over Eckert's head.
BFG just working it right now.
Yoon will find O'Brien, but fighting through contact to get open up line. Immediate looking for a reset. He wants this off the low side. He'll find it. BFG so far to half field and more. He'll dip back the other side of it, but immediately gain it back. High throw reeled in. El Salam tight on the mark on the far side.
The energy and the tension is just palpable.
That one's
And
swatted by
blocked.
Katz and then kept in bounds. BFG just steps
Knocking on
away
the
from a
door.
finals berth, and they'll find it into the end zone. BFG punch their ticket to the final.
Unbelievable game. Never more than 2-point differential. More. Wow.
Scenes. BFG, like we said, they've won this matchup all postseason long, and in the semifinals at Nationals, and maybe the biggest game of these two teams' seasons and trajectories, the narrative is no different.
You cannot have two more evenly matched teams. 11-12 final score. Over the course of the season, these teams are 3-3 on one another. It's truly a coin flip.
On the other
Incredible
side,
job.
Mixtape, they had really high expectations for themselves this year. You see the names on the roster and you understand why. This one's going to hurt for a while. We've all been in these situations, but have belief until the very end, and you get why. I mean, you literally could not have asked for a closer game. It felt like this one was destined for Universe the whole way. Give you a look.
Take a look at this final point.
Closing throws of what's been an epic.
Watch this tip here. Just didn't quite get all of it. Able to toe the line.
Observer right there to make sure that was in bounds. And then, wow.
Look at that foot awareness. Would have been so easy to be out of bounds right there.
Cheryl Sue making sure that Pape firing this one in to Tommy Lee. One of the players that helped build this team. He's getting to watch them march their way all the way to the final. You can see what it means to him. Really impressive top to bottom performance from BFG. Felt like in some ways they were in control the entire second half, and they were. Right when they needed the roll line to come up with a massive hold, they got it done.
Only one break in the second half, and that was from Seattle Mixtape.
Just massive relief from their sideline, and pay their appreciations to their opponents.
That's why that break in the first half by BFG, I think when the score was 6s, was so critical. It forced Mixtape to have to get 2 breaks in the second half, and they just weren't up for it. BFG's O-line holding just long enough to win on Universe.
Hugs and high fives for one team. And they're going to cheer for the other. So we'll give you a look. Our Flick Ultimate Player of the Game, Jeff Pape, 2 goals, 3 assists for number 27. Just an absolute O-line grinder. Nothing extremely flashy from his end, but that's sort of how this BFG team plays, and really what we talked about in order for them to be successful in this one. Play their system, trust their sets, and that's exactly what they did all the way to a finals berth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They really did. They did such an excellent job just responding to the moment. And wow, what a game we got from these two teams from Seattle.
Can't say enough about the growth of this team, too. Like we said, 3 early season losses to Mixtape, back-to-back losses at Pro Champs, another one at the Spokane Mixed Ultimate Tournament. And then as the season went on, a close win for BFG at sectionals, pretty comfortable win at regionals, and then eventually a close win in the semifinals at nationals. BFG now earning the right to take on Hybrid or Noise for everything tomorrow. Gonna hear from Pape in just a moment, hopefully. But this team just looks of relief on their faces.
So many smiles. All the stress of the moment fading away to just absolute elation.
This feels like the pinnacle for them in some ways. At least that's the way they're expressing their excitement, but it's really their seasons are not quite over yet. We've got more Ultimate to be played, at least one more game. On the other side, not difficult to see how Mixtape feels right now. Makes sense. I mean, this is really
absolutely
crushing for them.
Yeah, I mean, they poured their heart and souls into this game, probably into this whole season. And, yeah, just not quite what they wanted. You know, didn't want to end in the semis. Certainly wanted an opportunity for that title.
top to bottom. I mean, it's only coming down to a break or two the whole way. Extremely close game. Give you a listen to what the conversation's like on the BFG side. BFG survives really what was undoubtedly the hardest side of the bracket. Did not have an easy path by any means to the final. They're able to find one. Sometimes coming into games like this, I might kind of have an opinion or have an idea, and this one really felt like a toss-up. But there you have it. BFG taking down Amp after Amp beat Slow. Mixtape on the other side, battling back to beat Dragon Thrust after Dragon Thrust knocked off the 1 seed in Shame. And then, of course, these two, like I said, on a crash course the whole way. Now they got it done. We'll head to the final tomorrow, taking on the winner of Noise or Hybrid.
And you can bet that they're going to be watching that other semifinal very closely to see who their opponent is, see if they can get any more data points on two teams that I don't think that they have much experience against this season. So a little bit of an unknown quantity in those two teams for BFG as opposed to this very, very familiar foe in Mixtape.
We'll give you a chance to hear from some BFG players throughout the win. Looks like Mercer, Cheryl Sue will make their way over, as you can see Tommy Lee enjoying this moment with what I must guess is his son or daughter. Crazy. This is just been a long road for this team. Finally, they've reached the summit. In just a second, we'll kick it over to Isabel Cruz, who's standing by with two BFG players, and give you a sense of what this win was like for them.
Hi, this is Isabel Cruz again on this exciting, amped-up sideline with established story player Charlie Mercer and up-and-coming star Cheryl Sue, who was one of the players of that exciting Seattle showdown. I am just so curious, what really kicked things into overdrive for you to dominate on the offense on that point, on that game?
I think for me personally, it's a lot of trust in my teammates that to have my back. Yeah, it's just everybody believing in me and each other. And our D-line, I have to shout out our D-line. They're just so sick, and they fire me up too. So, yeah.
How did that game feel for you as a new member of this team with a really long Ultimate career?
It was sweet. It was super fun. It's a Mixtape BFG rivalry. It's been going back, and I think this year I have a number of Riot teammates that are on Mixtape, and it's been really, we have really tried to rewrite the narrative so that it is a game that is competitive and hard fought and less ugly than it has been in the past. And I think that's been really fun, right? There are high fives and appreciations for plays on the sideline, and it makes this game, regardless of outcome, more fun to play.
That's a really great perspective. What are you all carrying into tomorrow, into the big championship game?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm still trying to absorb what just happened right now. Just living in this moment, and then I think later on we'll see what happens. That's just me right now.
I think we as a team have really been thinking a lot about what it means to truly use all of the players on our team and how to have everyone shine. And that has resulted in some hard conversations in the last couple of weeks and really getting at some of the gunk that's there. And I think that, our success has been forged through that struggle and really being honest and creating space for players like Cheryl to fucking blow up because she's crushing it and owning this field. And that came out of the work that we were doing as a team to be able to set that stage for players to step up and take their time.
Love that. Love the support. Love the trust. Please enjoy your moment. Many congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow.
So there you have it. BFG are going to take some time to enjoy this one, and then eventually they'll move on tomorrow, and they'll take on whoever they might face in that one. We'll give you a chance to look back at what this one was like the whole way. Of course, looking back at this early break from Reed Koss. We got a lot of people to thank on the way. This has been some of the most in-depth streaming coverage that Ultiworld has done in any tournament. 2 live fields, multiple producers, Ryan McHugh, Aiden Shapiro-Layton, of course Charlie Eisenhood, Dana Matson, Malian Converse, Tyler Glasgow, Sophia Wong, Lucia Way, Joe Marmelstein, Hugo Swarter, Orion Burt, Joey Del Nero, Lucas Sirio, Sam brought us on the call for this one. Of course, our whole commentary team of Tyler Kinley, Keith Rayner, Becky Ladone, and Ian Toner. This has been such a joy to bring you Nationals and bring you a number of really exciting games. Not too late to remind you that Ultiworld subscription drive is still going on right now. We're super close to reaching our goal. So if you like what we do, and you want to see more of us at tournaments that you're playing at, feel free to subscribe. But Sam, pretty much got what we were looking for in this one.
And then some.
That's all from the stream fields. All the rest of these games will be available on ESPN+. This has been Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2021 National Championships. BFG avenge and get it done against Mixtape. They move on to the final. For signing off, Lucas Sirio, Sam Broadus. We'll see you guys very, very soon.